The question of what is the good life is a question that will never go out of fashion, because the good life is the life that is satisfying and makes people happy. And that question is always a relevant question that people return to many, many times in the course of a lifetime, in terms of their own life as well as other people's lives. So this is a question that could occur to you at any point. What would be good, what would be desirable, what would be fulfilling, what would bring contentment and satisfaction. Now, people with disabilities may not get much attention on this question because a lot of people get very preoccupied with the care and support of people, but not the essentially quality of their life. In this sense, people think that the issue with disability is care, is custodial in nature, that sort of thing. And so they say, well, these questions are for other people, that people with disabilities really just had better put aside the question of what is the good life, because the big issues are who's going to kind of mind them, who's going to support them, and that kind of a question. As a result, if that is really what the bottom line is, then it shouldn't surprise us that when it comes to helping people get a good life, people haven't thought about it because they've been largely preoccupied with maintenance issues and custodial issues and things of that sort, which are, of course, perfectly valid, but they're not the same as the question of getting a life or a good life. Even people with disabilities get talked to so much about care and support issues, they too become kind of hyper attentive to them. However, having said that, there really is no scientific evidence at all that people with disabilities can't have a good life. So the idea that, good life is over there and people with disabilities are over here isn't upheld by science. It's an attitudinal framework. The issue with people with disabilities then is cultural more than anything else, because there is a tendency to underestimate what people with disabilities can do with their lives. We do not have much of a problem with overestimating, but we have a huge issue in terms of underestimating people with disabilities. And how do we know that? Well, if you just watch where people start in terms of their expectations and then what they do with their lives, it's almost always the case that the person with a disability surprises everybody by what they're capable of doing with their life. It's never so you can almost assume, no matter who they are, if they're perceived as disabled, they'll be underestimated. That in fact, if you get the right conditions, they'll exceed the perceptions, even of people that know them very well. Because even if you know someone very well, you know them in the context of the attitudes that the society have given us, rather than the person's true potentials. Because many times the true potentials of people don't reveal themselves unless there's an opportunity for them to show some kind of expression. So if you put people in low expectation lifestyles, they'll just do low expectation things because that's expected. And of course, people will internalize the expectations others have of them. People with disabilities themselves, thinking from the inside out, often have hopes and dreams and interests in their lives that even their family may not quite get. And this is again because for whatever reason they've never been shared. But people would be quite surprised sometimes by what people would like to do with their life, but they've kept that to themselves for whatever reason. People with disabilities have by and large been underestimated, so there's really quite a bit of scope for very interesting developments in people's life. Where people, of course, pay attention to people with disabilities in regards to the question of a good life, interestingly enough, a lot of people with disabilities develop good lives. So in this sense, the innate potential of people to have a good life is there, but whether the society encourages this thinking or not may be a different kind of matter.